Well. Let's give it a listen here. I think, once again, the volume for me is fine. So you guys are going to have to let me know. Because inevitably somebody's going to come up here and say, you need to turn the volume up. Now I can scream into the mic, but I don't think that's going to help. So we're just going to go with it. How's everybody doing? We are moving on up here. Should be live, right? There we go. Too loud. See, I think Durit, he's just trolling me. He's absolutely trolling me. I'm just like, I don't talk loud in general. I think that's part of it. I'm maybe softer spoken is the term. Sounds good, loud and clear. Joey, the new PFP threw me off, not gonna lie, when I saw it in the comments. I just had to get used to it. Need background music? No, we're gonna sit here in silence, King. We're gonna sit here in silence. There's something about listening to the sound of silence, you know what I mean? I wanted to pull the QE, not QE. Hold on, let me find this real quick. Dead air. It's like blank space or negative space. What is the... let me just pull this real quick. So I don't really have a lot of specific things to say today. We'll talk about charts. I got last week's list of stuff in regards to alts, but if you want me to talk about anything, we can talk about it. A few questions in the pre-show. We'll talk about those. If you want me to look at anything, then just let me know. I don't know how everybody else is feeling market-wise. I know this is a dangerous question to ask because if you're trading Joe Biden, you know, that's a chart I just don't ever look at. So I could really care less either way. But for me, I'm neutral here. Sentiment-wise, funding is oddly all over the place. It is, if we just look real quick, if we look at funding on Bitcoin, it was negative on Bybit, negative on Huobi, negative on PingX, negative on BitGet. And then we've got Solana, turbo positive, AVAX up here. Like, this stuff's all over the place. The general heat map, though, is quiet, we'll call it. Not screaming, which is good. Yeah, Gasp, I think that one's on the list. I'll double check. Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about anything these days because I don't know. I talk about what I'm looking at, right? I don't talk about everything, obviously, but there's some stuff that clearly I don't talk about. So sentiment-wise, I don't know. I don't feel like there's anything pressing at the moment. Generally, April's a good month, but we've got tax season in the US for the next couple weeks, and then after that, it's going to be halving, and then after that, it's going to be the Fed meeting and Coinbase earnings, I think on the same day. That's, what is that? May 2nd? So this stuff, taxes, not going to help us. The flows have been, did I take that off the list? Yeah, the flows have been small. We'll take a look at that. On the ETF side, Legacy's hanging in there. You know, it's just a lot of meh. Energy's doing really well. Oil's up. That's going to hurt the inflation picture. This may be why we are up today. I don't know. I think it's easy to say. It's easy to say, oh, I think this is bullish for price, and then it goes up the next day, and then you're like, oh yeah, obviously this is why price is up. I don't even know what this is exactly. I can't even explain it, but for those that know what this is a type of not QE. QE apparently, potentially, you know, don't rake me over the coals, macro people, but this could be the start of a bigger operation. debt buyback program. So that is very bullish for Bitcoin. Terrible for the dollar, terrible for savers, terrible for DXY. So that's good for Bitcoin. We still have the RRP draining. It's at 430. All this is money buying debt that isn't coming out of risk markets, okay? That's really all you need to know. And then taxes temporarily draining liquidity up until April 15th. So I don't know, collectively, probably this week, next week, maybe the rest of the month is just going to be meh. Maybe it'll be a month where if we go back to the funding stuff, or not funding, if we go back to the seasonality, usually April's good. Look at these, such a string of plus 30s from 2017 to 2020. Usually April's good. Usually that's because March isn't good. Since 2020, post-COVID, it's actually flipped. March has been the better month. So maybe we live in this new post-COVID world where we had our good month in March. We've got a bunch of reasons why things might be flat, unexciting the rest of the month. Namely, taxes. We've also got the world waiting on when the Fed is going to actually cut. If they're going to cut, I go back and forth on that, but we'll know more in May, right? We'll have more data points in May. I think next week is CPI on the 10th, if I had to guess. QE is definitely back, just saying the cuts are coming up as jacking. Well, that's the thing. The market is so addicted to low rates that thinking about cutting is enough to get people all revved up, right? Sell in May. I don't know about sell in May. I just think April's going to be, look, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'm not putting on a bunch of leverage positions right now. I just don't see anything out there. On the technical side, we'll talk about this obviously, but Bitcoin is a mix of stuff. Chart pattern, Wyckoff, triangle. There's a potential B-band squeeze. If I had to guess, that's what we're going to see over the next 2 weeks. And Kijun bounce is like, it's a coin flip, whether or not we see 58. I would, preferably we don't, but that's possible. ETH, I don't know why you're holding, not you, dear listener, but why anybody holds ETH right now. I don't, it's losing against Sol. It's losing against the stuff with more risk. It's losing against the stuff with less risk. Who's it for? So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's for anybody. We are community members, says Ben. What's up, KPN? I just don't know. Like, you guys tell me, what does ETH have going for it right now? I couldn't tell you. Solana is just a casino garbage nonsense, but that's where the money's at. And it's leading Bitcoin, it's leading ETH. It's ready to hit an all-time high against ETH, probably. And then all the other alt BTC pairs are just very, very unimpressive bearish to me. It's not garbage if I make money off of it. That's fair. We'll take a look at ETH. That chart's also very unimpressive to me. At the moment, that could change next week. But right now, today, in this very live stream, ETH just, there's nothing there, right? In the open, someone asked about actionability on the cloud, so we'll talk about that. What else we got? We got Flashbang. Let's go flows real quick. The BTC ETF flows have been, I'll say, muted over the past couple weeks. So we are seeing that in price. We're not seeing February, March type inflows, early March. We're seeing late March. If anything, February, January type flows. So they're okay. They're not great. It looks like Grayscale's selling is over. It looks like the Genesis GBTC selling is over. It looks like the Gemini Earn people are finally going to get paid off. And I'll be happy when I don't need to say all those G words all together because it can be confusing. So that's almost done. The FTX stuff looks like it's getting close to getting distributed as well by the end of the year, which is actually super quick. So that's good. We have the government, US government, selling BTC from Silk Road. So there's just a lot of churn, a lot of churn. White chocolate comes in here. It says XRP is better than Bitcoin. Okay, that's an opinion. That is an opinion. Banned BTC. Let's take a look. Dixie dumping, SP 500 pumping, potentially. Potentially. You know, is the DXY angry at this? Is that why the DXY is angry? Or is the DXY angry just because of the debt situation in general? I don't know. I don't know. One thing I keep meaning to do is looking at the Solana seasonality. I don't know if anybody has that online, but I'll just have to make one myself. The other issue with ETH is it does better in the first half of the year, and you know, historically it does better in the first half of the year. I don't know. I would be ecstatic if there was a trade there that was worth taking. I just don't think that's the case. Possible Fed won't cut this year if inflation stalls. Yeah, the Fed speakers, I said that in the Monday video that there's like 15 to 20 Fed speakers today. They're all going to have slightly different opinions, some dovish, some hawkish. Not 15 to 20 today, 15 to 20 this week. And the market is, of course, hanging on every word that each of them are saying. Yeah, that's another thing, Jack. What is the eclipse historically? What does the eclipse do to price? I don't think it does anything. Here's the reverse repo thing real quick, just because I have it up. So the white is reverse repo. This is the inverse axis. Everything else is basically risk or a type of risk market. And it's pretty clear that as reverse repo was gathering assets, everything was going down. As reverse repo is reversing, putting money back into the ecosystem, essentially, everything is done well. So the good news is it has a little bit to go. Maybe the bad news is there's not much left. And over time here, this is probably just going to like flatten out at around 200 or 300 billion. And you'll notice we've kind of stalled out on S&P, on Bitcoin, you know, right as reverse repo was stalling out. That's kind of when everything stalled out, including HYG, which is high yield bonds, including the euro. So it's definitely important to just have an idea of what's going on there. So, you know, look, it's like the rest of this video. It's just going to be meh, lukewarm, who cares? You know, just go touch grass, go outside. Fed speakers are literal irrelevant noise. No one cares what they say. The only thing that matters is the Fed does collectively. I agree with you, Kieran, but that's not what the market feels. The market uses every sentence to justify something. Sell? Why does everybody want to sell? You realize we're pre-halving, right? Like, why are we selling anything? You just do nothing. Do nothing is preferable. All right, so that's the list of stuff in my head. For Bitcoin, you know, it looks like this triangle that I'm sure many people have seen already at this point is real. These equilateral triangles on a chart pattern list will tell you that they should lead to continuation. I think it's probably closer to 60-60, or sorry, 50-50. I was going to say 60-40, but maybe 60-40 continuation, which would just mean, in this case, bullish continuation. As they are consolidating, they certainly always feel more 50-50. So I don't, for me, there's not a trade range in here, a trade worth taking. As far as what the cloud likes breakouts like this. Okay, this is for Protect. This is the best. Okay, put this in your head and never forget this moment ever. Okay, because this was flows going from hyper negative to neutral to positive. This was a chart pattern. This was the daily cloud telling you bullish to bearish. This was a very clear horizontal line. I mean, there were so many reasons why this was such a great trade. It was an amazing setup. Okay. It was post ETF high as far as sentiment, right? So that is always going to be an ideal entry in a continuum in a trend. Okay, so we had this lull in the previous bull trend and reconsolidated when again that is always going to be the strongest signal to go long other than the initial breakout. Okay, and that's it. That's always the two things I'm looking for constantly on any market. Always searching for the turn, as it were, or the bear to bull turn in this case, trend reversal, or consolidation and continuation, which is what exactly we're looking for here now. Is what type of consolidation will this be? Will this be continuation? And you know, like I said, it feels like it's 50-50. We're coming off of a strong move today, obviously massive day. So you can't really short this. You can't really sit on the sidelines with the majority of your stack. It's just not worth it. Again, we're pre-halving, people. Just buy Bitcoin and do nothing. What do we do? You know, like that's it. That's the live stream. Buy Bitcoin and do nothing. I'm still hearing people say like we're only going to go to X level. We're only going to go to this level. Like we haven't even seen the real flows for ETFs yet. That may take another 6 months. It may take another year and a half. I don't know, but we are early on the ETF train. So all this still looks really good. We are consolidating at all-time highs. Let's just remind people of that as well. Now this can fail, right? I don't think it will. It doesn't look like it did in 2021. It might morph into a bearish DK cross price through the cloud. It might morph into that. In 2021, we were coming off of like a 6-month bear div. Okay. There was a similar type of fractal on the lower time frames, but that's not what we have now. We also don't have, you know, maybe, no, you can't even say like this stuff here. You got a higher high. Let's go down a time frame. Let me just look. I'm trying to remember what was up there. Was there anything? I don't think there was anything even on low time frames. It was just like chop, maybe an inverted head and shoulders here. There's nothing like the previous highs in my mind up here currently. You know, Jack's saying distribution, Wyckoff saying distribution. Okay, fine. Like, look, if we break down, yeah, I like 58. I don't like 30. I don't like 40. 50 would be the low. 58 would make the most sense to me. So, you know, if that's your risk profile and you agree with that, trade it accordingly. But what's your upside? My upside's 300,000. Okay. The downside's 50 here. Price that accordingly. No, I did not talk about energy yet. Just talking about Bitcoin. So there's nothing to do. It's consolidating. The next trade I'll take most likely would be something above the resistance diag, and you probably have to look at that on like the 12-hour, which by the way, still looks fine on the 12-hour. We may get a bullish TK recross again, okay, on the 12-hour. Because this looks like it's going to cross bearish. if we get a bullish crossover on the TK cross again, yeah, sure. Like, again, the cloud's trying to push you in constantly. It's trying to tell you this entire time, look for longs, stay long, okay? But it's also telling you as we get extremely far from the Kijun, which I have an indicator for that. It's called price versus Kijun, okay? And you can see historically, pivots are driving me insane today. You can backtest this. You can look historically what percentage from the red line here. The Kijun is overbought effectively, okay? That's usually 20 to 30% is usually the tolerance before price starts to slow down and lets the Kijun catch up. At the top of that rising wedge a couple weeks back, we were 30% away from the Kijun. Okay, you know, am I gonna stay max long up there? Probably not. Probably not. I feel like I'm talking in circles, but it looks good. It doesn't look great. It looks okay, you know? Something else we can use here is fractals. If we go to, let's go to the 12 hour. And if you don't like diagonal lines, if you're one of these people, doesn't like diagonal lines, okay, there's your entry based on Williams fractals. How this works, if we print a low, high, low, there is a little hat that gets drawn on that candle. That's a resistance fractal. That's how I perceive it. And that is a entry signal if we exceed that level. Your current stop loss on anything is shockingly at the bottom of the diag there based on the fractals again. Okay. So in this moment, if you were to measure this out from a risk reward perspective, you know, we can look at this. What does a long look like? Okay, let's be generous and say 82. There's your stop loss. What does a short look like? Your stop loss is there. You know, both of these trades probably have a very poor risk reward ratio. So the short is actually favorable. I don't know why those look different. Right? Is that right? I don't know why the risk reward won't pop up for that. Is it 3? Maybe it's 3. 3 versus 5.5 for the people, for the two people who know what I'm talking about. This is on logs, so it's going to look a little different. But the point is, it's here 50-50 if you believe up or down. Okay. If you measure that from target to target. Now, if you think we're going to 30, sure. Short it, hedge it, whatever. I don't think that. I'm not in that camp. Let me read chat here for a second. I'm behind ETH. Poor ETH bag holders. What is the thing called when the price punches through the zone on the cross? That's called Easter, Stephen. No. Where the cloud is super thin. Oh, you mean through the Kumo twist. Like down here. Yeah, that happens occasionally. I just view it as the weakest point of resistance for the reversal attempt, you know. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything special there. ETH very rich now. I see a triangle. Bukowski would suggest triangle breaks upwards 2/3 of the way in, close to having. Yeah, Pratik, you're gonna have to tell me how to say that because I'm gonna keep going back and forth. I agree. The market looks like it's waiting for something. I don't know if that something is having. I don't know if having is good enough to move the market. I personally don't think it is. At least on the day, right? Like having's gonna come and go, and okay, great. Pratik. Okay. Having is great 3 months after having, when the supply shock kicks in. On the day, I don't think it's a big deal. You know, it's going to take time. What's more bullish, heading into a huge cloud from below or nearing the end of a cloud, which is getting progressively smaller? So Smudge, I like both charts. I'll mention them when we take a look at the weekly charts. I think both are equally bullish, honestly. Yeah, exactly, Joey. So I don't have anything else to say on Bitcoin here. You know, you can go to the low time frames and you can just see the chop. Man, the pivots are crushing me. In the cloud, out of the cloud, inverted head and shoulders, rising wedge, those kind of negated each other. We had a mini head and shoulders here that started as an ascending triangle and the cup and handle thing that broke down, right? I guess there's some low time frame Adam and Eve down here on the hourly. I don't know. I don't think it's really tradable personally. That's that. Anything else that looks good? The weekly, I don't really care about the weekly at the moment. We are screaming. You know, this is the worrisome thing from the bearish perspective, is just how far away we are from that key June. Much like in 2021, similar picture. If we just like stall up here for too long, then the risk of mean reversion goes way up, right? You know, this is what I'm talking about. So that is a worrying sign, because how long is it going to take for the Kijun to catch up here? It's going to take a minute. Anyway, so I think it's 50-50. That's it. It's certainly more bullish than bearish. This should break probably like just before halving. If we're talking about chart pattern rules, and the only reason I'm spending so much time on this is because literally the entire crypto market relies on what Bitcoin is doing. So if you nail what Bitcoin is doing, you're going to nail what alts are doing. This is the daily B bands. These will probably squeeze for another week at least. Much like this down here, okay. End of January, beginning of February. This is what we want to see. We want to see tight B bands, price above the midpoint. That's what we want to see. Right now, again, we're snaking in and out of the midpoint. There's nothing here that's going to tell you anything. I'm sure there's some like B band something, but what I want to see is B bands tightening with price holding above midpoint. That's it. That's what you want to see. That should then allow this triangle to break up easily. Okay, so it's the opposite. If we are like crushing the lows and we're below the 20, then that leans very bearish. That's it. Just got to wait it out. So that's another week, right? That's tax day, unironically. It'd be amazing if we pumped to 80 on tax day. Would be hilarious. So that's it on Bitcoin. You know, there's not really much. There's this other like worrisome thing where you've got an inverted Adam and Eve, but I think at that point, I think we've morphed into a triangle. The inverted Adam and Eve measures similar to the low 50s. So I just think it's gonna need time. It's gonna need time. How high do I see Dogecoin going this cycle? I don't know. $65. Is that a good number? Yeah, while we're talking about the cloud stuff, going back to Nvidia, you know, this is something else I'll never forget because I just missed it. I just wasn't watching close enough, apparently. I didn't miss the entire run, to be clear. I missed this right here. You know, again, sear this into your mind from a cloud perspective, because what did we have here? We had months of sideways consolidation, price returned above the cloud, bullish TK cross, horizontal resistance. You know, it doesn't matter that it went whatever 5x from there, I don't even know, 2x, whatever it was. It's all about identifying this right here. That's what you want to never miss. You want to never miss that. That is extremely, extremely bullish. Even if, was that a bearish cross? I guess it wasn't. So this was the bear cross, this was the bull cross, price was above cloud, cloud was green. Everything on the cloud checklist was satisfied. Okay, so up here for something like Nvidia, much like Bitcoin, as somebody pointed out in the chat, this to me looks even more like an inverted Adam and Eve, rat's nest. I don't even know, right? It's kind of just junk. It doesn't even look like a head and shoulders up here. I don't even know. I don't really have anything specific to say, but what you're going to get up here sooner or later, if price doesn't get moving again, is a bearish TK cross, probably between 800 and 875, somewhere in there. That is your get out of Dodge signal. And if you are expecting higher, you just wait for the bullish cross, okay? I mean, that's it. This thing has kind of just chopped around up here, sub 1,000 for a little while. Much like 2023, mid 2023, it had a great run and then it needed some time. And that's similar to what's happening now, right? Just like Bitcoin had a great run, needs some time. It's below the Tenkin now for 3 days in a row for the first time since the breakout. So there's a lot of just weakness here. Ultimately, if this rolls over through the cloud, you know, imagine a price move like this, something like that, you know, to 683 or 680. And this is all just cloud stuff. This isn't like a statement on Nvidia as a business. I don't really care, but you're always looking for a bearish TK cross first. Much like this, again, it's all the same stuff. So as long as you know like the basic principles, that's going to just keep happening. You had the bearish TK cross. Price tried to close in the cloud before the bear cross. It did not. It was not successful. And then it attempted the mean reversion through the cloud, right? And bounced. So it may see that again, but that we're talking like June, July, we're going to see that. There's always a risk of something like this falling through the cloud, just like Bitcoin on the daily, right? So 683 would be a level to hold if this does roll over. But I don't really see anything here for me personally. Much like Bitcoin on the weekly, Nvidia on the weekly, just, you know, screaming above its key unit, its mean reversion target. We can look back at this run here in 2020 to 2022. The same thing happened. It has a run, it consolidates, goes again. Okay. So today, as we sit here, this just looks sad chop to me. And I think that helps us on the crypto side if the Nvidia money, if the chip semis money rotates to crypto or rotates to whatever, right? But yeah, this is like Bitcoin, and it's the same type of moment in the market based on the trend structure for sure. Let's go back to crypto. Let's just run through the majors, then we'll go through the list, then we'll go through legacy, and if you have anything you want me to look at along the way, definitely shout it out. But using those same principles again, hopefully it's obvious what I'm about to say for ETH, because it's always the same, right? You had your bullish TK crisscross in February. Up here, you're about to get a bearish cross that says get out of your longs, okay? Ideally, on this time frame, you will see a bullish TK cross. I don't know when. May, June, depending if the ETFs get denied, which I think they will for ETH. What I always prefer, I say this a lot, but you know, the bullish TK cross was the easy layup trade, always. The easiest layup trade is this right here. Not because it went up, okay, again, I don't care about the future. I'm just talking about the entry. The entry, when you flip everything from bullish to bearish to bullish again, that is just screaming at you. This is a long, this is a long. That's the type of entries I try to hunt, okay? The other thing about this ETH chart, you could probably argue inverted cup and handle. If we measure that, I mean, if ETH gets down here again, I think things would get interesting down here. I think everything would have to be bearish for ETH to get down here. But let's say ETH, let's just, hypothetically, let's say ETH gets back down there because the market's soft or whatever. If ETH gets down there and the ETFs aren't rejected yet, I would love to see like a crazy flush sub 2000. That's, if I'm looking for something silly, sub 2000 is where I would want to get into ETH. 2000 was basically the ascending triangle breakout too. Now, do I think this is realistically going to happen? I do not. But if you're trying to like game out where some crazy targets would be, some stink bid type situation, like there's a path for this. If Bitcoin drops to 50, ETH is headed sub 28, I think, pretty easily. So it's not turbo bearish right now, but it's something to watch for. Because the ETF denials may be like the bottom. Okay. What is that? May, I think it's May 24th. There's like this window when the first set of denials comes in May. Yeah, I think it's May 24th. And then the second BlackRock denials come in like August, I want to say. So again, we're just gaming this out. This is part of the visualization process. ETH, it could just be nothing burger, get denied, go sub 26 or something, live for 26 for like a while, and then ETFs get approved or something. something to think about. This is the ETH discount down here. And this is something else, because I know a lot of people are trading ETH. I could see the discount dipping to 40, so that's where I want to trade ETH again. Between here and May, I don't want to touch it. Between here and August, I probably don't want to touch it. But if the discount gets low enough, then I think that is the trade for ETH. But yeah, ETH USD right now certainly does not look bullish. Okay. It just doesn't. Now, if you get a TK crisscross, sure, we'll take it. Sol, on the other hand, looks good. I don't think there's anything here. Again, like I wish I had something to say that was of use. I just don't. I don't feel like I do. This was the previous consolidation. It is well above the target for that consolidation. Do we have pivots up here? Okay, so it's at a yearly pivot. this may play out as like an ascending triangle. I don't know. I don't really have anything useful to say. It's just about as overbought as Bitcoin is on the daily. The retracement target would be 148, 150. We'll just call it. It looks fine, but again, the best trade, best trade was way back here. What did you have? You had the TK crisscross, price above cloud. You had two chart patterns. You had an inverted head and shoulders. You had a cup and handle here. All sorts of fun stuff. Up here, you don't really have much of any of that. You know, you've got. Again, I guess you're hoping for an ascending triangle. Now there was a low time frame ascending triangle that started to break out and then got crushed, right? But I don't know. I don't see anything but chop here on Solana. ETH BTC. Every day I look at this thing and it looks worse every day. There isn't really much to say when it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. There's not much to say. It is not bullish. I personally don't think this is a buy for a good long while. Much like the ETH USD chart, I think this needs to go much, much lower before the market starts to care. And because I'm thinking about it, one other fundamental thing to watch on ETH, we've talked about this many times before, but if there is an exit queue on the validators, that's, if I were to like make a list of things I'd want to see to buy ETH again, it would be failed ETF application, ETH discount blowing out to 40% or more, an exit queue on the validators, which means people are losing their religion, right? They're throwing up their hands and saying, all right, I'm done here. Oddly, there's an entry queue still on ETH. I don't know why. I don't know who this is. Usually this is like some entity. This might be the Lido, I forget the newer one, the riskier one. That might be what this is. I don't know. But validators look okay, right? I'd love to see this get stressed in order to be confident that ETH is done bleeding. Something else to think about long term, if the ETFs are staking, which they should be eventually, what does that yield actually look like? From my understanding, the more ETH that is yielding, the lower the yield. So if the yield is below the risk-free rate, the US risk-free rate, let's say, which it is now, it's below 5%, right? If it's perpetually below interest rates in the United States, it may have trouble mattering, right? It may just never matter. I think that's people restaking with those validators, and yeah, I should just look it up. Here we go, my buddy at Dune, Hill Dobby. Is it EtherFi? Is that who it is? Renzo, I'm not familiar with. Sorry that my head's in the way. So Lido is losing a bunch of ETH, which is good from a decentralization perspective, but that ETH is moving into riskier stuff, arguably, like EtherFi. Renzo, I don't know what that is, but it's good to see Lido losing market share. Coinbase, if the ETFs are approved, Coinbase's market share, I would suspect, would increase by a significant margin. So that's something to think about long term. Just looking at all the staking stuff. So the validators for the moment look good. That's something to think about long term, because man, this chart looks quite bad. we had talked about this diamond bottom potential. Just like any failed pattern, the truth of the chart pattern stuff, the opposite direction is it's always there. It's just the bias and the probabilities favor what has happened in the past historically for these patterns. So, diamond bottoms are typically reversals and they typically have a bullish target. But if that fails, which is what I might have on here already, if that fails, that leads to a potential bearish target, which is, look, it's like 045 or 040 or something. We could see that. We could definitely see that. It would make sense to me if that happened based on the current market conditions of the ETF conversation, the SOL versus ETH conversation. That would make sense. All that is restaking a massive airdrop. Yield makes the... Yeah, that's the other thing people keep telling me, which I'm not going to disagree with. I'm just looking at price return. I'm not looking at total return, which would include staking. I have a chart. I don't have up to date. I don't have an updated version of the total return chart. I should do that. Let me just write that down. I said I was going to do the EG screener and I didn't, but yeah, let me update that chart because I'm curious now too. Basically, it would be BTC versus ETH versus total return for ETH. But yeah, this is not bullish at all, right? And it needs to see a lot more pain before the market cares, I think. For SOL BTC? SOL ETH? Let's go to SOL ETH first. SOL ETH looks very good. Can't deny that. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's the chart, right? Same thing with SOL BTC. SOL BTC looks good. It's the one alt that has held up well against Bitcoin for sure. Anyway, those are mostly the majors. Someone asked about Doge. $1. The targets don't matter. It's more about like the conviction, the cycle, the timing, right? Weeks ago, maybe months ago at this point, I said we are going to wake up one day and Doge will be above 13 cents. Well, that happened. And I think from here on out, Doge is going to chop around for probably a couple months. And, you may get a slightly better entry. But if you're a Doge believer and you think it's going to $1, just DCA for the next 6 months or something, right? What does it matter? That's it. That's all I have to say about Doge. It looks fine, but all the alts look fine. They're in the weekly cloud. It's going to take time. That's pretty much it. I wanted to go to, this is Kraken Pro. I'll take a look at the list in a second. I just wanted to run down some of these on Kraken. Something that caught my eye today on Kraken was the Zcash book was cancel only. Usually they do that when they're delisting something. So I don't know what that's about. I tried to look into that. If we go down the list, there's not much going on in altcoin land. This is Ripple. It's literally 6 months of pain since the high or more, And I know nobody cares about this stuff except me, and the maxis like me care about this stuff because it's so easy to pick on these charts. But Tell me where the bull market is on alts. Just tell me. You know, here's Doge. Even Doge had like 3 weeks of up. Congrats. Doge has retraced to its May 2023 level. There's really even Monero, which, you know, we had talked about. We'll delete all that stuff, but hey, I said this months ago too. Does your alt have an ETF? No? Okay. I mean, that's what we're seeing on the chart. Let's go Tron. Let's even look at Tron. Just get trounced over the past couple weeks. Maker is another one that I keep saying looks really good. What you got to be careful about with Maker is the risks with DAI, the risks with Athena. Like, this may just all blow up. Okay, so total loss is real for Maker. Definitely read up on that if you don't know what I'm talking about. But the technicals look very good against Bitcoin. Very, very good. LTC, remember that massive LTC pump? Can you see it? Can you point it to me on the chart? You know, it was up a couple weeks. That measures to below zero. Yeah, you know, like, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? Not people in this chat who know better, but everyone else. Just do yourself a favor and look at these charts. They are horrendous. Horrendous. Now, if you're a range enjoyer, you know, maybe you take a stab at something like this. This is Adam, right? As a trade idea, I'm not going to take this trade, to be clear. As a trade idea, you could say, you know what? I'm going to be a bidder down here and have some stop loss that makes sense and hope that it bounces, but that is not how I trade. Definitely. But going into having, you know, that in hindsight, 6 months from now, that trade might make a lot of sense. Link also looks very sad. Matic, and you know, this is why in the moment, in the time when this stuff gets listed, not just on Kraken, but anywhere. Specifically, I'm talking about like the meme stuff now. It looks good, it does great, but over time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We'll skip gold because it's obviously up. This was one I guess I forgot about. Ant BTC? Somebody's gonna have to tell me what that is. I don't know what that is. But it looks great. You know, again, like anything that looks like this, love it. Maybe it's AI. I don't actually know. Filecoin. You know, we talked about this a bunch. Just chop. Probably another 6 months of chop against Bitcoin. There's really nothing. I mean, DOT, I know, looks tragic. Just abysmal. All of this stuff looks so bad. So bad. ETC looks okay. You're not really gaining any ground there. Sand, how does that one look? Death. What else we got? And I know, again, like the alt people, they don't care about these charts. Let's be real, right? All they care about is the multiple in the bull cycle. Mana, new multi-month lows there. Somebody asked me to look at Rari. All right, that looks okay, right? At least it's making consecutive multi-week highs. I'll come back to that one. Is INJ on here? Not as a BTC pair. What else? Tezos. People ask me about Tezos all the time. Look, guys, like this is your future for everything. What else we got? Anything interesting? I don't think so. Waves? Is Waves doing okay? Just chop. Absolute chop. Post-halving, this stuff may do better. But as we sit here right now, not so much. I don't know what this is. I talked about it last week, I think. Avagachi. I don't know what that is. You're going to have to let me know. Pond. Is that? There's a guy in our Discord named Slime who brought up Pond the other day. Isn't Pond like an airdrop of Pepe or something? Just, you know. People ask me about this stuff. In the moment, I get it. I understand. But over time, this stuff all goes to zero. Someone brought up Aave. I'll just delete that. There was a potential, you know, if ETH is losing its BTC pair, then most likely the entire ecosystem isn't going to do so great. We were talking about maybe something like this. Maybe it's actually over. I don't know, but you know, it's doesn't look great. Doesn't look great. Let's go by. Let's find something that's up today. And we talked about Nano. Sure. I mean, do you want to buy that? I don't. I don't know. Everything is just, why bother, right? Why bother? That's why everyone's focused on meme coins, aka pump and dumps, because the actual alts that have been here for a moment, nobody cares. They're all going to zero against Bitcoin. And that's that. That is that for alts. All right, let's look at the list. Let's look at the list. So you know, I'm not talking to anybody specifically, but you can put your head in the sand and look at the USD pairs and say, yeah, this looks good. That's fine. But just know you're losing against Bitcoin, you're losing against Solana. And that's just the facts, okay? That's just the facts. BNB, BTC. We'll go down the list. This will be fairly quick. I mean, I don't have much to say on most of these probably, but BNB is trying to regain something on trend. Doesn't look like anything for me. Some sort of super tight consolidation here. If Bitcoin starts to break out, you know, this is the other thing that people always tell me. If Bitcoin breaks out, alts are going to go insane. I'm going to load up on Pond because Pond is going to blow up when Bitcoin goes to 80. Okay, I'm not going to stop you. ADA. That's what I talked about on the video, but I do not like that at all. Bearish, do not like that one. All these, they don't even need to break down. They just need to reset. You know, the cloud's going to flip bearish here. Bearish TK cross. So there's no long there at all. The same thing with Link. There's not a long here. It's been chopping around. Sergey's been selling, dumping on his Marines nonstop. No wonder it's not going anywhere. AVAX, kind of the same thing. This is going to roll over and or just go sideways for a little while. That's that. Algo, same thing. All varieties of head and shoulders and or inverted cup and handle and or just not bullish things right now. Render bounced on the daily Kijun, but this is not, you know, I say it's not an entry. It could be. It's just the rest of the market doesn't feel like this would be an entry. In January and February, when everything was reconsolidating and had been reconsolidating for a long time, that's when your confidence should go up for re-entries on this stuff. So I just think it needs time, and if Nvidia rolls over, I think Render is going to go with it. Sui, Just looks okay. Maybe an eventual cup and handle. I don't see anything there. Yeah, I'll take a look at Ocean, ZRX, Rune. People keep asking about Rune. It must be up. I don't think Rune's on this list. I mean, my goal for people is to actually not even listen to the stream or my videos anymore and just turn on the cloud and in 5 seconds know what to do. That's the goal here. Arrow. So, you know, this is where all the attention of the market is, because why not? It's gone up 10,000% or whatever, right? If this gets a bullish TK cross, sure. This is the 4 hour. Why not? Why not? I think Velo is the same. Yeah. So all this stuff is waiting for the next entry. Whiff is the same, I believe, because I'm sure someone's going to ask about that one. Yeah. Whiff is the same. You know, look, this this stuff is always going to be the same. Either this will roll over and the cloud will reset and trend will make a decision, or it will hold at basically this level and attempt a continuation. That's about it. What's up, BOC? Yeah, we can look at uranium. Prime. Same thing. You know, it needs time. Prime needs time. Talked about this last week. I'm going to talk about it next week. Just, it's the same thing. You want a bullish breakout of the cloud, or you want a bullish TK recross. That's it. Those are the best entries. Up here, there's nothing to do. Ondo, what do I have up here? Broke out of a channel to the downside, bearish TK cross. You're waiting on that type of entry in the next couple weeks potentially. Ordy, this thing just looks like mega chop to me. Head and shoulders, another head and shoulders. Just the range. I don't know, it looks like dead money to me at the moment. Stacks on the daily looks fine. You know, the problem with alts is you may have some target in mind, but they are going to get thrown around based on what Bitcoin does. So this looks okay. It doesn't look like an entry. There's probably some channel along with everything else. Where do I want to draw that? Maybe there? It looks fine. You know, I know a lot of people who love stacks. Okay. Looks okay. But this was the entry. This was the re-entry. Up here is question mark. Cass. Kind of fading. This reminds me a lot of Tia. No one's asking me about Tia anymore. Why is that, guys? Why, guys? Can you have an idea why no one's asking me about Tia anymore? Man, Tia was hot. Tia was hot in Q4 of 2023. Nobody's asking me about it anymore. Maybe I should buy some. I'm kidding. This is kind of a giant like megaphone down here though. Yeah, I just looked at stacks. Are you still in? Yeah, I'm holding Filecoin. Like for me, okay, if we're talking about what do I want in an alt? Here's what I want in an alt, okay? It's gotta be in the bottom of the weekly cloud. Gotta be, okay? If it's not here, I don't care about it. I don't want it. Don't care. Why do I want it here? Because this says trend reversal. It says the pain has happened, and it says the upside potential is significant. over time, not tomorrow, not next week, but over time. That's the first checkbox. The second thing I need to see is not dying against Bitcoin. Okay, there's a difference between file BTC and Matic, right? Big difference. Okay, I will not sit in something like this. There's no point. It doesn't make any sense. So if file starts to make lows, I'm out. If it gets below the daily cloud, or sorry, if it breaks below the weekly cloud, I'm out. But for now, it's fine, right? It's not gaining ground against Bitcoin. It's not losing significant ground against Bitcoin. The other one, and I don't have large allocations of this stuff, just to be clear, okay? But Flow, it's trying to stay in the weekly cloud. You got to give it some time. That one looks okay, right? Flow BTC, exact same as Filecoin. It's not gaining ground. It's not losing ground. It's consolidating. The moment this starts to break lows, I'm out. I'm out. That's it. Those are the only types of charts I care about. And why do I like these again? Because they've literally been down only for years. Years. Left for dead. Nobody cares about this junk, okay? That's when I step in and say, yeah, maybe. That's it. Algo, same thing. Glad somebody brought that up. You know, and I've talked about these for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. We're going to talk about them for weeks and weeks and weeks. Probably. I just want to be there on the day that this thing goes to 75 cents. That's it. I don't care about anything else. Maybe it goes to 75 cents. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it goes to 150. It probably never does ever again. Okay, but down only for years, flat for a year, in the weekly cloud. Now against Bitcoin, this one may look worse. I don't remember. Doesn't look great, but it's not Matic. It's not Zcash. You know, it's trying to hold a range. That's it. That's it. Everything else, junk, garbage, I don't care. Stuff that's listed yesterday, I don't care. Pump and dump meme coins, I don't care. The entire Solana ecosystem, I don't care. That's not for me. Okay. So those are the only alts I'm holding other than Solana, specifically ETH. That's it. Everything else is just junk right now. Why would you hold any of this stuff? In the moment. That may change post-halving. That may change with rates coming down. But everything else, I don't really care about. It's got to have a really good entry for me to care. Now, does my aversion towards alts in general, does it hurt me on stuff like Pepe, where this was clearly an entry based on my system and I didn't take it? Yeah, like, you know, I'm not going to make every trade, let's be clear, but it's hard to see this and then allocate, because even if I know this is coming potentially on a breakout, am I realistically going to throw a bunch of money at this? Probably not. Probably not. That's just the hard truth. You don't really need to throw a bunch of money at this based on where it went. But up here, you know, there is not an entry up here. This is not continuation up here. This is in the moment, an M double top. That's it, okay? I would have been out of this thing weeks ago, easily. The other part about alts that people get tripped up on is maybe you catch the middle of the move, maybe you catch near the top, and you think, oh, this thing ran 10,000% or whatever, right? What is this? 750%. This thing ran X amount, it's going to go again. What I think they fail to realize is it consolidated for a year, effectively, before breaking out, right? And I go to this example all the time, but we can go to GME, and it's the same, right? Without this 2-year consolidation, after a year, no, sorry, what is this? Uh, Half a decade of death, okay? Without this specific setup, there is no way GME could have exploded up like this. There's just no way. Why? Because everybody was short. The short trade was crowded. People thought this company was dead. Garbage, nonsense, right? It's the same thing with the alts that I'm looking at. It's the same type of setup. Do I think algo is going to explode 10,000x? I don't, but there's an opportunity there that makes sense. So this, this spot right here, boop, that's where you always want to look for stuff. But it's not just the breakout. It's the fact that this thing was death for years and years and years and years, and then had a triple bottom. And that was the first tip off, right? The first tip off, back to Filecoin, back to Algo, back to some of this metaverse garbage. It has this year-long triple bottom, right? So I would start with charts that look like this and avoid anything that's gone up 10,000%. GME itself, by the way, just this is the down only forever falling wedge. Like this could probably extend basically back to the breakout. It's just funny. Whatever that is, $3. And you just know. You just absolutely know there are people who have been holding this thing since $3 and did nothing and continue to do nothing and think this is going to break out again. I'm sure those people exist. I'm sure those people exist. And, it's still up multiples on that breakout. But there are just as many people who literally bought at 80 and are thinking, I can't wait till it goes back to 80 and I get my money back, But the move happened. The move happened, right? So for me on this alt stuff, SHIB is another example. Same exact setup, right? Like down only for years, kind of junky, and it broke out, right? Up here on the daily, the same, double top type stuff. Yeah, Nikolai, a lot of people have been asking me about the market cap stuff. That's why I'm hesitant to say, like, I think this is going to go to this price based on the cloud. Is the Filecoin? Yeah, it is. Okay. So you're right. You definitely have to be careful on some of these charts. Because although Filecoin is down in price significantly and remains down in price significantly, its market cap is, close to all-time highs. It's not that close, but it's close-ish to all-time highs. So it's definitely worth taking a gander at that. That's why some of these charts like Algo, can we do, if you want to pull this up on TradingView, by the way, it's CryptoCap. CryptoCap. Algo, no. Okay. Flow? No. Yeah. So you got to be careful on some of these charts. Realistically, can Filecoin 5x its market cap? Probably not. Probably not. All right. Where were we? GRT. I mean, look, everything for the most part is gonna look like junk here. Let's just be honest. On the daily, you're getting all sorts of angry bearish patterns. Everything's just overheated. Just needs to reset. INJ, Gosp asked me about this one. If Gosp in the chat, if he'd been holding, he might be, I have no idea, but if he's been holding since $1 and he's up a 33x still, and he hasn't closed anything, I'm gonna be shocked. But Because that's a great trade, right? That's a great trade from $1 or $2. But up here, this does not look happy. It does not look like it's a fun time, you know. I'm just saying that because this range looks like it wants to break down in the moment. And the other thing is, if you've got a 10x, 20x, whatever, how much more is that going to play off, or is that going to continue this year, right? I don't know. Haven't closed anything. Buy here. Oh no. Oh no. Gosp is going to be the GME person who's holding since $3. I'm kidding. Yeah, AMC I think is headed for bankruptcy soon, right? I'd imagine. So, look, it looks okay. It's just, it doesn't look like it wants bullish continuation yet. Something else you can do with these crazy alt trades is go to like the weekly, if there's enough data, turn on the fractals, and it will give you levels, right? Now, it may not always give you levels that you like, but up here the level would be 30 effectively. If this closes below 30, it's telling you to jump out. I don't think so. Down here it didn't trigger. Down here it also didn't trigger. So it has to be a candle body close below 30. I'll say that again. Candle body close below 30. That's the trailing stop loss level for something like this. Sell everything September, November. Yeah, and I mean, if you are a cycle believer and like me, you think we're going to peak somewhere between a year after having to a year and a couple months after having, then just do nothing, right? But if you're doing nothing, why are you asking me about it? Gosp. He's asking me about this chart, even though he's doing nothing. What's that about? But that's how I would take the view on this. 30 would be the trailing stop loss. All right. CeeLo Green. How's he doing? Fine. This is in my wheelhouse in a sense that it's at the bottom of the weekly. Looks okay. Roll bit. Chop, slop, nonsense. Not bullish. LYX. It didn't look bullish last week, and it certainly doesn't look bullish today. Not good. PRQ, rising wedge. Probably, don't have that on the chart. Let's add it. So it's bullish. I would just be careful up here with the rising wedge. I wouldn't be adding up here. Metis Dow, double top, like most everything. Double top, and then there's a little head and shoulders here. Doesn't look happy to be up here. Say, same thing. Double top and or channel break, however you want to look at this stuff, it's not. Doesn't scream bullish continuation. You want to wait for bullish TK cross, price above cloud. CTSI, below the cloud, angry. Flat, sideways. FET, the everybody's favorite AI coin, right? If we go to the weekly, there we go. Go to the weekly. So weekly fractals, hold on, cloud off. Weekly fractals here don't really tell you much. 3-day fractals have been wrong before, but 215 would be the level. This is well above its inverted head and shoulders target. I don't know, looks double toppy. Agix. What am I going to say? Double top. Pretty much everywhere and everything there's a double top. Ocean, double top. Next chart. Ocean BTC was the one we talked about. Needs time. This probably breaks up later in the year. True looks good. I think it's probably late. Probably late up here. I don't think there's an entry, but it looks plenty bullish. It's still got its, double bottom thing it's working on. I don't know. Looks fine. No entries anywhere yet. Bonk. Oh man, remember Bonk? Do you guys remember Bonk? Do you remember how crazy the Bonk chart was? This isn't a double top, but it some sort of triangle. I don't know. Bonk is the same thing as all these other ones, right? Years of consolidation. I guess not years, but weeks was around for the meme stuff early. What I'd watch on Bonk, 8 hours probably fine. 4 hours probably good enough. We'll say 4 hour. We'll point to the left field wall. Okay. Somewhere around tax day, this may break out. I'm gonna be so confident as to set an alert for this. Okay. That's the line to watch for sure. Not there yet though. Beam, ranging junk, ton. Ton looks okay. There's not an entry here, but it looks fine. I wouldn't sell any. Looks fine. Sell. Angry junk. Losing lows there. Crow. Emerald top. Not really an entry. Again, you wanted to be here or here. Up here is a question mark. Sand. This is a meme coin, or not meme, metaverse, right? Looks okay. I don't hate it. This is like the flow chart, right? What does this look like against Bitcoin? Because it's probably the same, I'd imagine. Not as good at lows. Making lows there. Doesn't look amazing. Doesn't look great though against Bitcoin. Sin. Ranging chop, sideways chop. You know, maybe this is an inverted head and shoulders. Yeah, see, everybody in the chat agrees with me. For no one who reads chat and listens to these things, people are saying rip bonk, good run bonk. Anyway, yeah, just nothing looks super great. ILV, I don't know, man. Double top. There's just nothing there at the moment. Oh man, Stellar. Maybe an inverted head and shoulders. I don't know. The other thing about these patterns on like stuff nobody cares about, I think they have a harder time breaking up. So it's like, you know, if Stellar's breaking up, something else is probably like 10xing Stellar, right? Now Stellar, like Ripple, may have a move if we turn on the halvings. Where is it? We turn on the halving dates, right? The time to trade Stellar is months after halving. Months. So I'd come back to that. You know, this is going to be a different stream in July when everything looks really good. Tezos against the dollar looks pretty good. I've got a level up there at 491, and that's all people here. I know that, but against Bitcoin, we already talked about it. It looks terrible. Absolutely terrible. Strax still. I remember this one from last week. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but that is not a chart I want to touch for any reason. Mog rolling over. This was a meme coin, probably. And I'm sure I mentioned this, but just part of trading. It's part of letting go. This was the best entry. Anything up here at this point, not for me. You know, if you got in it past the breakout, if it were me, I'd sell. That's just me. Because you just know there are people. What does the volume look like on this? No volume. Thank you, crypto.com. Useless. You just know there are people. That's not enough. Poloniex, also useless. Does anybody trade this anywhere? No, not really. Anyway, I was going to say there's got to be people trapped up there. FXS. Ranging angry sideways junk. All right, the moment everyone's been waiting for. Rune. Oh man, you guys got me all excited. I had 16 people asking me about Rune. And it's just a double top again. By the way, it hit the target we had on the chart. The cup and handle or whatever I said. Inverted head and shoulders? I don't even know. I probably just said fib the range. That's where we're going. But I thought, yeah, we talked about Altcoin. I got triggered when MC asked me about Altcoin. I had thought this chart would be just at all-time highs. In all seriousness, you know, M double top, whatever that is there. So I'd want to see this reconsolidate. Rune BTC. Sideways. High time frames. Sideways. Sideways with a chance of sideways. No, it's fine, MC. I'm just kidding. But I hope it's clear, the stuff that I look for. I don't know. Pendle? I thought that was on the list. Maybe not. Do a few more, and then we'll flip to Legacy and get out of here. But, see, now this is a chart. This is a chart. I have the hiccups now. It's so good. I don't think there's an entry on this. Again, it's the same song and dance every time, right? This consolidated. So yes, it looks really good, but that's like old news, right? I'm not saying that in a demeaning way. I'm just saying like there's nothing to do here at this point. Somebody asked me about, are we going to get drafted for World War III, says Dave. I hope not. I hope not. ETH BTC breaking down, uranium. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. Any other alts that I didn't talk about? People keep asking me about. Hold on, I saw this one. Ton BTC. This doesn't look. Coinex, he said. Coinex. You know, it's got a double bottom. Would I realistically trade this over Bitcoin? I would not personally, because it's Telegram. I use Telegram every day. I'm sure the token has utility. People use it for subscriptions or whatever. Not for me. But yeah, that's a W on that chart, just like that other one we just looked at. If your meme is it go hang, chain flip. Sam is telling me the benefits of Rune. Yeah, I don't care. It's just not for me. That's all. Just reading up here. All right, Pond, Marlin, and then we'll flip the legacy for the 200 people that are still here. Thanks for hanging out. You know, it was kind of death for a little while. Whatever I drew on here previously, it's well past that. Entry, kind of double toppy. All of these M double tops should break up if Bitcoin breaks up, but just gotta wait and see. I don't know. I don't think that's not a trade for me. I want to see what this looks like in like a week. Give me a week. Should I set an alert? I'll set an alert. We'll set an alert. I think that's too aggressive. We'll go here. Boom. All right, we set an alert. We can talk about Pond when it hits that alert. This channel is underappreciated. I see YouTube are pulling huge numbers with the crappiest contents and you only have 200. Yeah, it's okay. I don't really care. I think the people who watch that kind of stuff are probably a certain type of person who want like continuous bullishness. That's just not me. Thanks, DZ. Thanks, Gosp. What's up, J Brown? All right, T-Fuel, Pond Slime. Exactly. Not Pond Scum, Pond Slime. But yeah, ton looks good. Ton looks good. Arrow, we talked about. Near. Oh, did I not talk about Near? Near, I guess I talked about it on the Wednesday video, but I liked Near at 350. Up here, what I said on the video was like the risk reward just doesn't make sense. This could still easily go to 11, right? You know, if we look at Solana, for example, Solana is effectively past its weekly cloud target, way past, right? So Near could hit that and keep going. But at the moment, I don't see a trade. I don't dislike holding this from like 3. If you're holding it from 3, I just went in and out, so I don't have any Near anymore, but it looks fine. Against BTC, we'll take a look. I think I also said something on the video to the extent of, you know, watch how it reacts on the weekly cloud, because like Algo and like a lot of these others, you know, it's trying. Let's add an alert to that. Why not? It's trying to break up. I think the issue with this chart specifically, at this point, it's up 240% from the lows. So it may just take a lot of time to break up again from there. Do I do my analysis manually, or do I have some sort of automated process? So for the screeners, that's how I caught a lot of these alts on the you know, the weekly edge to edge trade. So that was automated in a way, but for the most part, no, this is all just manual. Thanks for your analysis over the past few days. I feel like analysis is growing increasingly. I was just wondering one thing. When you say chop, do you mean falling on a downtrend? No, so chop for me just means random. It could be up, it could be down. It just, to me, it's untradeable. I'm looking for breakout trades. I'm looking for a trend. I'm looking for trend reversals. Chop to me is just untradeable. Just sideways, basically. All right, Glamour, last one. And then we're flipping to Legacy, boys. The Roth Warriors. For all three of you that are still here. Glamour looks similar to a lot of those charts. Man, lose my voice. Let's put an alert. Why not? You know, it's done nothing for a year. Looks okay, right? This is a steep drop. What is this, 99%? 99.28. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this goes. Maybe the cloud's kind of hinting at 316. I don't know. I'd have to look into that one a little bit more. But the chart doesn't look horrible if you're willing to sit in that for a little while. All right. RB's been asking me for, sorry, RB. SRQ Ray. I think that's RB, right? He's been asking me, He's been asking me for the Apple Weekly. Let's take a look, shall we? Apple Weekly. Apple Weekly. Does not look good. It does not look good. The difference between crypto and legacy stuff is crypto just moves faster. You know, everything, it's the same idea. It's just everything moves much faster. You know, your entries were here, here, here. So here on the long entry, you know, there isn't one, right? I don't even know. I don't even know. On the weekly, it really is it because I'm on the wrong cloud? It doesn't really matter that much, but it doesn't look great. You know, it certainly doesn't look bullish. I would want to catch this when it breaks out again. The other question is, would you short this? I don't think so. I don't think this is a short yet. The cloud isn't thick enough. You don't have a bearish DK cross. Now you do have like some sort of M double top, right? So maybe you short with 140, 150 range in mind, but that feels like a coin flip to me. It doesn't look bullish on the weekly cloud. If we go to the daily, what I had said, when was this? End of February? Let's go to like the 4 hour. The 4 hour had this thing on it, right? This very angry, just couldn't make highs. So that was a clearer short to me. This just looks like chop to me here. Doesn't look happy at all, you know. Let's just go through the Mag 7 or whatever, Mag 6 real quick. Nvidia I talked about. Nvidia breaking down. It hurt me. It's down 2.8%. Just doesn't look happy up here. It looks like, for the moment, famous last words, the move is done for now. That's what it looks like to me. I'd want to see higher highs above 950, which is what the fractal would agree with. We broke the previous stop loss trailing fractal at 891. That was a couple days ago now. We're below the Tenkin. And you can also kind of see the TK lines like widening out. That's usually a sign that you're overbought or oversold. In this case, overbought. The final warning sign to get out of this is going to be the bearish TK cross, which is coming easily in the next couple days. No, next week. It could be next week. If anything, you know what's hilarious about this is with tax season, you may have people selling Nvidia because they've made crazy gains, you know? Like that's how it's always a double-edged sword when you're up when you're up what was last year? Last year was 225%. So you may have a lot of like tax selling going on right now. You know, that may help roll this over. But it doesn't look like an entry. I wouldn't short it, but it doesn't look happy. Microsoft looks fine. Nothing really to say there. Just momentum flattening out. Again, you have the TK lines like separating a little bit. It's hitting its cup and handle target. Doesn't look as angry as Nvidia. Just looks okay. Amazon, I've been out of this one for probably 3 or 4 weeks now because it hit the target. This can easily keep going, but the trade that I took, I was in specifically for the pattern. If we look at low time frames, there's probably a wedge. There's probably, you know, something like this going on. That's certainly not an entry. You're wedging into a target. I don't know. I just don't know how much more is left in the moment on that. But that moves pretty much over. Meta, I have no idea what you do with Meta up here, but I wouldn't want to be a buyer. I'd have no clue. Just crazy looking chart. Google, I like because unlike Amazon, it hasn't broken out yet. Looks like it's getting kind of angry at the all-time highs. I don't know. Let it chop around 150. I still like it better than the rest of the Mag 7 for this specific reason. Looks great to me, arguably, because it hasn't broken out yet. Netflix like Meta. I don't know what you do with this. Literally no idea. You know, I'm not a buyer. The craziest V you'll ever see on a chart in Legacy. Tesla, a lot of people ask me about Tesla. It's been bearish on the weekly for like 6 months. Bearish on the daily since January. That's pretty much it. You know, it's got to get above the daily cloud for me to care, and it's got to get above the weekly cloud for me to care. So with the inventory or production numbers, deliveries, whatever, those were not great. So I can't imagine that looks any better in the next couple of weeks. SMCI also looks increasingly toppy. Is this an obvious head and shoulders? Maybe not, but you know, am I gonna get in an entry up here? No. Who would want to buy this, right? Who would want to touch this thing? So it broke out. Why is it doing that? It broke out way down there. The cloud, like Nvidia, is crossing bearish soon. Tons of warning signs on this one. That momentum is done for now, right? This might not break down. This might not reach. What would the target even be? Let's just say here to there. I'll just leave this on here for next time. It may not even go that low, but it certainly doesn't say, man, this is a great entry, right? No, definitely not. S&P, I wonder what happened over the last like 15 minutes. Everything just turned down. You know, S&P's had a similar wedge to Amazon for months. Months and months and months. War escalation. Oh, is that why people are asking about World War III? Um, so even though we're getting like bad news potentially, or like risk, look, we'll call it risk off news. This has kind of climbed the wall of worry for a long time, the S&P. So I think it's going to take into account negative news much easier than positive news. So yeah, I mean, this is going to get a TK cross soon. This may float through the weekly cloud. It doesn't look happy, right? You've had literally, this is the S&P. The S&P's gone up 30% in 6 months. What a ride, So how much more do you want right now? Much like everything else that I've been talking about, the entries, if I can find sure, whatever. Stop it. Here's your exit, which is what we're going to get soon. We're going to get the bearish TK cross. You let that play out and you just wait for this. So that may take 3 to 6 months, but that's what you wait for on the long side to get back in, because this is not an entry up here. It just isn't, at least on trend, and it's losing the Tenkin for the first time the whole run. So everything just needs to take a breather. The Qs, same thing, same exact thing. Just needs to take a breather. IWM just looks gross to me. So if we have World War III, why is gold not up? Someone asked about PAX G. Gold hitting its first target on the multi-year inverted head and shoulders there. XLE continues to look amazing to me. Trend, chart pattern. Oil, unfortunately, looks very bullish through the weekly cloud there. And dollar's kind of ranging chop. Hopefully this doesn't break up. Hopefully this just stays in the range. But if this breaks up, we're going to have a interesting time in crypto. All right, let me just run through the rest of the legacy list. So the best thing out of all that to me is XLE and Google, bar none. Everything else just looks either angry or needs more time. Crane shares, this is the China Internet ETF, also needs more time. This probably breaks up, into later in the year, as long as this doesn't lead to war with Taiwan in some way. I laugh, but who knows? Who knows? This is clearly trying to bottom. Something to watch in the long term. Dominion Energy. So if we go to the daily, I like, it's the same thing. That's why if you think about GME, AMC, like go to the extremes, pick some extreme example, and it reminds me of math, right? Like use negative numbers, use imaginary numbers, whatever it is. But pick some extreme, run that through the filter, and just remember that. So this has been down only for months. It got back above the cloud, bullish cloud. This looks great. So as an entry, anywhere here looks fine on the cloud. Looks good. You could say maybe you want to wait for a new high or something, but the cloud likes it. Trend likes it, definitely. Peloton, oof. Peloton continues to fall. I fully expect this company to go out of business at some point. Unfortunately, maybe Apple acquires them or something. I think that was being talked about at some point, but this is a very angry chart. Very, very angry. Zoom, same thing. Very angry. I mean, the line to watch on Peloton is that diagonal at the top of the falling wedge, not not whatever's going on here. If anything, this looks like a head and shoulders at the bottom of the trend. Doesn't look good. Zoom, bearish, like I just said. It needs to break 75 to look bullish. Toast, I have a little bit of this. Fintech, point of sale system. You know, ranging, angry for years. It's like pre-hood, right? It took hood 2 years to break out. Toast has been at it for just as long, if not longer. It may take another 3 to 6 months, but it looks good. XLE we talked about. The equal weighted XLE also looks fine. RSPG. CDLX looks okay. Ranging nonsense. Ranging chop. It's in the weekly cloud. The difference between this chart and like hood is there was a clear range for years before it broke up, whereas this thing is, you know, just super huge, wide range. I think it's going to need more time. KMPR. Ranging? I don't really have anything to say there. I guess you could say maybe like a W. The cloud likes it soonish. I don't know. Tilray, so the cannabis stuff all to me looks good in a sense that it's tradable. Back to the GME example, down only, sideways. Yeah, it has a shot, right? It even, as I'm looking at this a little bit more, it even had, you know, a triple top down here that broke down. Now it's got a triple bottom that might break up. As a trade, I do not hate it. It looks good. Squarespace also looks pretty good. Above the weekly cloud. So the best entry on this would have been, if we go, what does this look like? So the best entry is like this next week. What is this next? That right there. Bullish cloud, price above cloud. You barely have a cloud, I know, but so even though it ended up going sideways for a couple more weeks, you know, that was the better entry, obviously, but still looks great. Okta. Turning down in the cloud needs more time. This is why I think everything Q4 is just going to be insanity bullish. Snow. Oof. Very angry chart. Breaking below the cloud, below the triangle. Doesn't look good. Does not look good. Sucks. This is the inverse chips ETF. It, you know, it doesn't look good, right? I've got an alert on the diag here. I don't know. I think shorting this stuff is admirable, but I think it's crazy. As toppy as Nvidia and SMCI look, I think shorting that stuff is silly. Standard Charter. Just the range. You know, nothing. I don't even know where I draw a line here. Doesn't look like anything special. Do I do TA on the VIX? I mean, we can look at it. I have trouble with the VIX seeing anything just because it's, you know, what do you do with this, right? What do you do with this? I don't know. I don't even know what to say, right? Maybe you Can we look at like an MA cross or something? I don't even know where to begin. I honestly don't know. It's more of like a range vibe thing. I don't really have anything to say. I mean, the doomers are gonna like that the VIX is up today. Maybe there's a signal on the daily 5200. That was the death cross. You had a crisscross, death cross since December. So maybe volatility is starting to pick up now. I don't know. All right, let's get through these last. We talked about GME. MSTR, I think, needs to come way down. Way down. Bit of a early head and shoulders call on that. I think it needs to come back to like 1,000. That's a significant move lower. Coin looks fine to me. You know, if Bitcoin breaks down, coin's going to go down, MSTR is going to go down. If Bitcoin breaks up, those two are going to go up. I think coin is just a cycle hold if you think Coinbase is going to be here. WGMI, just chop, range, nothing exciting. CleanSpark got very angry very quick when they started issuing more shares or debt or whatever they're doing. I don't know. There's not a trade there. Hive. You know, what do you even trade? It's been in the same range for a year. SNDL is another cannabis thing. It looks okay. Looks good, right? W double bottom. In the weekly cloud. Certainly better than most of these alt charts. Copper, we can talk about copper. How would you do a cloud screener for cloud breakouts, trading views, Ichimoku screener settings? If you go on my YouTube, if you go in the YouTube and look up, just type in screener on the YouTube channel, you'll see I did a whole video on it. I did a couple videos on it. Copper futures. Dr. Copper. Looks good. Looks really good. You know, it's got the cloud on its side. It's got a chart pattern here. It looks very, very good. Very bullish, if that's good. I don't know if it's good or not, but copper futures look very good to me. LMWR? Is that crypto? Sounds like it's crypto. I don't know. I mean, look, if you use the word meme in the sentence to describe the coin, it's probably not for me, but chart looks okay. I wouldn't entry, or there's not an entry up here. Same deal. There was the entry. There was the entry. There was the entry. Just not. You know, the funny thing is when people ask me to look at something, like it's usually the time to catch it is already way past, right? I did look at near. I just said the risk reward for moving through the cloud is just kind of up in the air because it's already halfway through the cloud on the weekly. I think that's all I got. Jump, sure, why not? My target is a penny. Let's see if we're close. Are we close to a penny yet? It is at $1.50. And, you know, head and shoulders double top. It's all the same stuff on most of these charts. There was an entry back here, and now it's telling you to get out again. So, not for me. Thanks Baggy Waters. Thanks for all the comments and whatnot. That's all I got, guys. Oh, I'm gonna go stand up, walk around, stretch the sea legs here. Give me a like, comment. I read all the comments. I respond to everything. Thanks for hanging out. And I guess I need to read the headlines and see what's going on with World War III. Have a good weekend. I don't think I'll be here for Setup Sunday, so I think I will be... Setup Sunday is going to be a day late. Maybe 2 days late. Yeah, maybe 2 days late. All right. Catch you guys next time. Take care.